Hello friends, Republic Day greetings to all of you. This is yet another milestone day for me. On this day, ChessBase India would be launching my revised volumes of the chess course, a curriculum volume 1 to 6. As you are aware, my flagship book, the chess course, was released on 15th August 2021 by ChessBase India, and now is this another auspicious day leading to the release of the 6 new volumes. So just let us get started with like what the revised edition contains and how do students work with this book. So first of all, let us come to the main book, the chess course, which was released on the revised version, in fact, was released on 15th August 2021. So this is an updated variation of my original book, the chess course, and which originally, like previously, had 250 pages, but the revised edition has 450 pages, and it covers everything that is required for an aspiring chess player to start from a scratch. And moving on, they learn from here and they solve it here. So this is the parent book, and then we go to the workbooks. So let me introduce you to the first volume. This is level 1 workbook. It's for absolute beginners. So you learn from the main chess course and you solve it there, and then you can come to this book. So for example, let us take this. This has 24 lessons. In fact, like all the books has 24 or 48 lessons. And here, say for example, the first lesson is chessboard and chessmen. The trainer will teach you from the main book, the chess course, or if you're doing self-learning, you can learn it over from there, the elements of the lesson, and then you solve it over there, which are in brief, and then you can come to solve it in detail here in this book. So this has 118 pages and contains everything which a beginner is requires to go to the next level. Then we move on to level 2, which the volume 2 is for advanced beginners. That means the students who have just completed their first step and they now want to move ahead. So what do we learn in this? Well, we start with elementary checkmates. So we have elementary checkmate with 2 rooks, and then with a queen, and then you go for checkmating with each of the pieces. So it's divided into simple steps. Well, you start with the simplest and then go to complex. So you start with checkmating one move using a pawn, then you use a bishop, and then a knight, then a rook, and then queen. And then we have another 96 positions of random in mating with any of the pieces. So like here you'll be in a position to solve nearly, you can say, like 300 positions of mating 1. You will also understand common checkmating ideas which occur in a game of beginning player. And then this is followed by 24 game positions which are frequently occurring at the beginner's stage, the opening setup, and you play the game with alternate colors. So for example, the first game is e4, e5, queen h5. I can just show you this game, the page for the corresponding page for this. So the student will basically be starting with training game number 1 and 1A. So here is the space. The opening setup is e4, e5, queen h5. So the black player, the player who is playing black, will be required to defend what is the threat with queen h5 and then play it over there. So they will be normally playing through 20 moves, and the trainer will help them in finding out like whether they are making any elementary mistakes at the start. And then they will play the same setup with alternate color. So then the player who has played with white will be playing with black. So this is how the 12 games into 2 means 24 game goes. Then we move on to level 3, the intermediate. And as you can means like this is the most interesting stage. We start with elementary checkmate again, the advanced version. We go with elementary checkmate with 1 rook and then double bishop. And of course here you'll also be solving it in such a way that we'll be finding out whether you are able to do checkmate within say less than 2 minutes and then less than 1 minute. Raise the bar and see whether you are able to do it under 30 seconds. And then moving on from elementary checkmate with double bishops, we move on to checkmate in 2 moves. So like in the earlier book, the earlier workbook, you had done checkmate in 1 move, and now here you'll be doing checkmate in 2 moves. So this will, improve your calculating ability. And then we move onward to the middle game tactics and combinations. And here you have 8 themes. So we start with pin, knight fork, double attack, skewer attack, back rank, discovered attack, discovered check, and destroying the defender. And one of the new ideas which I have incorporated in this volume, the revision, is that in the previous edition, which, like I'd written these books right from 2012, and then the first revision came in 2018, and now this is, you can say, the final revision. So here I thought, okay, maybe, why not replace the training games with the openings. So here what I've done is I have incorporated openings as your 24 lessons. You have tables. So for example, Yuko Piano is the first opening. Normally a beginning player should start with, I should not say beginner, and then you understand the tables, how to go through the table of variations. The trainer will teach you how to go through these variations, and then the evaluations are there, and then these are followed by the illustrative games emanating from this line. So you have white wins as well as black win. You understand the plan as to how the game flow goes. Basically, these are the games played at master level. So these are very, very instructive. And you'll become very confident when you go to the tournament. You can use these ideas in your game. And so I have covered 4 variations in Yugo Piano. And then we move on to the next opening. That is another 4 variations. I have 6 variations rather I have covered in Scotch game. E4, E5, knight F3, knight C6, D4, and he takes D4, and then the variations coming from that. This is followed by French and Caro-Can. So like this is your first step in going towards the advanced level of learning the proper way for chess openings. Now, once the student has completed this level 3, which basically takes around 6 months to complete this 48 training sessions, we move on to level 4. And level 4 again is 48 sessions. And here we'll be covering endgames. So we start with simple concepts of opposition, rule of the square, and then the rules governing the king and pawn ending. And thereafter we move on to more difficult endgame like queen versus advanced pawn, knight versus advanced pawn, rook versus pawn, and then we move to queen versus rook, and then the fundamentals of rook and pawn endings, the Philidor and Lucena. And then our journey for learning the opening continues with here again, like I've started with in this the 24 lessons with 2 knights defense. So like in volume 3 I had covered from the E4 opening the Yugo Piano and the 2 knights, the Scotch game, and now here we'll be going to 2 knights. So we have NG5 as the variation, or white plays D4 in means as one of the better alternative, or black plays the gambit line. He ignores the threat with NG5 and goes for bishop C5, the Traxler variation or the old Wilkes-Barre variation. And then we move on to from Ivan's gambit, then the lines coming from the Scandinavian defense. And then after Petrov, Alekhine, Perk, and Philidor, we move on to the D4 opening. So we start with Queen's Gambit Decline, the classical variation, followed by Cambridge Springs, and then Queen's Gambit Accepted, Chigorin. So all these are covered in volume 4. Then we move on to volume 5, the second stage of the advanced learning. Again, this has 48 lessons, and here you would be starting with elementary checkmate with bishop and knight. So basically, like in the main chess course, this is the final checkmating, what we say elementary checkmate. And here the idea first will be learning means to learn to drag the king from the wrong corner to the right corner, and then the ideas, the checkmating pattern in that. And once you learn that, you'll be even confident of even checkmating what we say with bishop and knight from any position given, if you understand the fundamental ideas. And then we move on to checkmating patterns, various patterns means which we see out on the board when a checkmate is there. So we see smothered mate, we see legal cis mate, and Damiano cis mate, Anastasia, and Apollo mate. So all these are given with wonderful history of how we got this name, and makes the learning more interesting. So I've included few anecdotes, a few interesting facts about the players and the ideas from where it has come up. And then again, the opening journey continues in this level, where we'll be like going in for complex opening. So we have 12 variations. I have covered 12 variations in Sicilian defense from the 24. And the tables, it starts from Sicilian Dragon, the most loved opening for a player against e4. So what I've done here is we started with the famed Yugoslav. So the main line with 9 bishop to c4. You see all the tables here once again, and then the illustrative games. And of course, I can like quote the first illustrative game. I think nothing better than Karpov versus Korosnoy from the finals at 1974, and like which basically put an end to the dragon variation at the top level before Kasparov revived it against Anand in 1995. And then after Yugoslav, you move on to the g4, 9 g4, which is like very sharp line. And then we have 9 0 0 0, the queen's head castling for white. And then we move on to the 11 fish variation. And then we have accelerated dragon and Marokzeba structures, followed by Polygievsky variation. And then we move on to again the queen pawn opening. So again, 24 openings covered in this with the illustrative game. So like it has 144 games as like previous volume, volume 4 and 3, where also we have 144 games each in the different openings explained. And now we come to the final stage, the volume 6 of this curriculum. So this culminates the learning process, and here it basically concerns only classics. So we have 100 games to be memorized. We know that, like a player in his span memorizes a lot of positions, a lot of games. So for example, Carlsen knows 10,000 positions by heart, and like we have a very much quoted example of Anand, had memorized the entire BNC volume of ECO at the age of 15. That you could point out exactly the page on which the variation is there. So here it is like you have 100 games starting from miniatures. So here, for example, the student would be starting with what we say the game, which is only of a miniature game, say less than 20 moves. And say, for example, here the first is the famous Reti Tartakover, an often game played in the year 1910, and which has the theme of double discovered check and mating with a queen sacrifice. So the students will be learning the idea. The trainer will be explaining to them the opening ideas as to where and how where the player has gone wrong, why he lost quickly. And then once they have memorized this game, they will be going to the space where they have to record this game. So again, say for example, now you'll be coming to page 52, and where the blank space is given against this game number 1, Reti Tartakover, and the final diagram is given here. So they will be recording the entire game here. So 100 games to be memorized, and I have earmarked, you can say, nearly 108 sessions for this, a job of nearly 1 year if you have to take it at the rate of 2 sessions per week. And then after this 100 games, we have identified the game. So from the 100 games, I have, like listed 42 positions which are very frequently, like the game which are landmark games, of course, which are included in the earlier lessons. So like you take here first example, and we have this famous position white has just played is queen to f6, and then we have bishop to d6 and knight to d5. There is a knight on g7, and of course the queen is on the take. black is required to play in this position, knight takes f6. So can you identify this famous game? So a player will be writing down the name. Yes, the game happened between this player in this year. So 42 positions to culminate this. So this entire set of 6 books, and we take it with the main chess course, it works out to a whopping, I've calculated, 1164 large pages and has 2237 exercises. I think, a 2-year course, which is like a nice flow. We have experimented with this in my chess school, the method of teaching, and player have been able to achieve good success by completing this course. So this is the day on which these books are being launched, and of course, as with any launch, we have a very special offer for this. As you can see, the entire 7 books comes in a beautiful gift box packing here, and the MRP of this book is 8,000 rupees, and can just say this here, yeah, it's 8,000 rupees. But as a launch offer, ChessBase India would be offering this to you at a fantastic discount of 50%, means at only rupees 4,000. So the sale starts today, 26 January 2022, and culminates on 31st January for 6 days, wherein you can get this book from ChessBase India at just rupees 4,000, the entire set of 7 books. And this includes shipping within India, because as you can see, the set is really heavy. The entire set weighs very close to 7 kgs. And I also to tell you, like we have used, I've used premium paper for printing. So all this printing is done on 100 GSM paper, which is like, makes you feel very good. And of course, it's a treasure to be kept with. And of course, you can, like also, you can revise the book whenever you feel to. So you can come back to any of the book which you have gone through earlier. And I would like to thank once again International Master Sagar Shah for giving what we say has really helped me. It is unbelievable that like a small Indian trainer has been given so much importance for his books, and I would like to thank him. I'd also like to thank Grandmaster Praveen Tipse for giving a wonderful review of the book. I'm really honored, and to all trainers and players across the world who have liked my books and have given accolades for this work. So I am confident that you will like this work, and let me have your suggestions for this. Thank you very much.